Do we have a... Yeah, microphone's coming.
Thank you so much. My question is to Mr. Mandhana. Sir, there is a lot of social fabric disbalance in this country. Do you agree? And do you think that having Salman Khan as your brand ambassador, are you losing some business? Or how is the scene? Can you tell me more about it?
Can you ask me that question again? I couldn't get that.
So there's a lot of social fabric imbalance in this country. I mean, a lot of social fabric imbalance, if you can understand what I'm saying. So, like recently, there was an issue where Salman's house was attacked by a few mobsters. And I don't know what kind of publicity that was, but did it affect your brand, or does it affect your brand totally? Or maybe that Salman Khan is your brand ambassador and it is catering to just a few minorities of the entire segment of the population?
See, sometimes you've got to pay a price for being famous also. You know, of course, the star that we have has been a little, has been into controversies. But he's got his own fan following, believe you me. It's only growing by the numbers. And when he had some issues with his cases and everything, court cases that he's having, we saw a spike in sale instead of a dip. So I think he's a cult. He's got a different level of fan following. When I say that he's got 35 million followers on Facebook and Twitter and other social media platforms, and he may be probably the 100th most followed guy in the world, he has to have something about him for people to love him so much. I think we all make mistakes as human beings, but sometimes you can pay a price of being famous. But if you look at the good side of what he does, the kind of philanthropy he and his family is into is phenomenal. I mean, I've been closely associated with him for the last 7-8 years that I know him. It's been 3 years that we launched Being Human, but I know him for a much longer time. And I think he's changed many, many lives of people around him and within the society. I think there are 1,000 surgeries carried out for kids below 5 years for their heart transplants and I won't know the technical term, the term, but congenital heart diseases. There is a ward right here in Delhi, in Gurgaon, where there's a ward which is only a Being Human ward, and at any given time there are 50 kids from all parts of the world who cannot afford, the treatments is being treated by Being Human. There are more than 25,000 cataract surgeries done within the country which is not being talked about, and hearing aids being given to people. He's one man who's always ahead in helping out and reaching out to people, and he does it selflessly without talking about it. Believe me, if we spoke a lot about it and wrote a lot about it, this brand could have been even 10 times bigger. But he's one guy who doesn't like to talk about it too much. So we express ourselves in a very subtle way on our tags that the purchase of this brand supports the twin causes of education and healthcare. But what goes behind, I have lots of stories to tell you, which can take me 2 days.
Fair enough, sir.
Okay. There's a gentleman standing up there.
Chris, actually, this question's for you. So, throughout the day, we've heard, licensing and merchandising of, characters, celebrities, designers. What's fascinating is you have made an educational institution as a company, as merchandising, and I think that's fantastic. So can you please tell us a little bit about how do you get that, especially how do you get to sell that merch in a country where I don't even know how many Oxford alums are there, right? So what's the strategy there? That could be great learnings for all of us.
Sure, thank you. So Oxford University, you're quite right, is an educational establishment. There are something like 200,000 alums around the world. So we don't sell to them. They know what Oxford is all about. What we trade on is the reputation that the university has built up over its more than 800 years of existence. And it reaches into every part of the world and has an integral part to play in education. So Oxford University Press is part of the university. We create syllabus and English language teaching that is sold as packs to students, schools and students around the world. We publish the Oxford English Dictionary, which is the definitive source of English, unless you're an American. And fundamentally, we have built up a role in people's lives. It is well known as a famous university, and what we did when we were challenged with the idea of how to turn that into a consumer brand was look at how you can translate the fame of Oxford into a proposition that consumers could buy into. We came up with 3 key values that we have built into the licensing program, both in terms of the way we communicate it, but also how we try and build the licensed product itself, and that is heritage. We've been around 800 years. We're a classic English institution. It's aspiration. It's about, anybody in the world can go to Oxford University. All they have to do is want to and pass the exams. And it's about quality, because more than anything else, Oxford University stands for the pinnacle, the best. So you take that fundamental set of values and you translate it into a consumer brand, which also then requires a whole visual identity system and a very, very carefully thought out vision for what an Oxford University product looks like, what it, where it should be sold, and to whom are we trying to sell. There are a million different ways to approach that, and it changes from product category to product category. But there is also one other fundamental that we don't ever deviate from, which is about relevance. It's about making sure that the product that we are licensing has some relevance to the university. So collegiate apparel, clearly, every major university in the world has got an apparel range. Educational toy, back to school, stationery, puzzles, games, learning aids. That's a very obvious area. Oxford University also contains one of the world's great libraries in the Bodleian Library. We have a range of different museums and collections in every form of art and archaeology, and all of that also provides content that we can use in conjunction with the name Oxford University to enable us to move into home interior product and a variety of related categories. But it has always got a story to tell, and I think that's the truth for all of the panel members here on the stage, that there is a story that they are telling. It's their brand, and we are no exception to that. Anybody else? Another question?
Western isomorphism in India, if you can understand. I mean, people follow the trends, Western trends, European trends, everywhere. How hard was it for you to establish an Indian luxury brand? And did it work?
Great. Actually, yes. We did a lot of hard work for this. Particularly, the credit goes to our director, Mr. Rohit Bal. He's a NIFT qualified person. He did lot of hard work, and then brand was created. People understood the real meaning of Rohit Bal. It's not the name of a person, it's the name of a brand. Now, as of today, it's a brand which synergizes fashion in India. It's not that Western fashion, this blazers and jeans and trousers. It's about traditional Indian attire. It includes sherwanis, jodhpuris, it includes lehengas, and all those things. Kurta pajamas, bandgalas, and all those. Again, we have a different range where we can say that this is the best Indian brand as far as fashion is concerned. We did a lot of our work, whether through retailing or through e-commerce also. I was just before talking about the e-commerce also. We have customer base which have accepted us at the range of 30 lakhs, 70 lakhs. That is phenomenal. So that is the hard work that we are putting in. Another aspect is that we're developing the things that are from the roots of India. That is handloom. So a lot of hard work is being done. We create the things, then give it to the handlooms, and they in turn make the product, and we start our merchandising thereafter. So a lot of hard work has been put into it. A lot of hard.
Okay. Any other questions? Do you know what? I think I'm going to declare that you can go home 5 minutes early. So thank you very much indeed to both of you for sharing your insight. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. I think the final panel discussion had interesting things to say to us about various kinds of licensing, the sports, entertainment, and being human. Rohit Bal, I happened to go to one of these stores of Rohit Bal. I think they make great outfits. So thank you. And thank you, Chris, for actually moderating 3 back-to-back sessions. I'm sure it must be like a real brainstorming for you to actually be going back-to-back, right? Thinking about what to answer, how to react and all that, and also having our audiences engaged. So let's have a huge round of applause for our panelists, please. Thank you. So I request Chris to please give a memento to Mr. Manish Mandhana. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Mr. Manish Mandhana. Can we have a round of applause going for Mr. Manish? I request Mr. Chris to also give away the memento to Mr. Akhilesh Sharma. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we have with us now Mr. Martin, who has been chairing the sessions again back to back, helping us understand and give us connects between the sessions. So I request him to give some remarks before we actually come to a close for this brand licensing summit. So let's hear from Martin straight away.
Okay, so I'm the only thing between you and the end of the day. I was asked to sum up what we've been talking about today, and I started jotting down some notes, and amazingly enough, the 3 things that occurred to me as common themes all started with the letter E. The first one, you won't be surprised, those who have been with us all day, is ecosystem. It's really a fundamental part of this business that nothing happens in a vacuum. We have multiple platforms on which brands are built. We have multiple brands, trying to address the marketplace, and everything affects everything else, including my second E, which is e-commerce. E-commerce is something that came up, I think, in virtually every session here today. It's revolutionized retail. It's something that has to be taken into account as you're building your brand plan. How will the consumer get to the goods? How will the goods get to the consumer? As somebody mentioned to me early, in some parts of India, mobile has preceded electricity. So the e-commerce platform and the e-commerce system is becoming vital to reaching markets and consumers that have never been reached before. So that's another thing. And the third E that I came up with was evaluation. It's really important that anybody entering into a licensing relationship, whether it's as a licensee or as a licensor, that they fully evaluate the opportunity, the strength of the brand, the characteristics of the brand, the business capabilities of the potential partner. Can they do what they say they can do? Is this somebody I can work with? Is this, if I'm a licensee, is this a brand that spends a lot of time and money protecting its brand against counterfeiting and such, and thus protecting the licensees? So there's a lot of evaluation, hard evaluation that has to go on in order to build those strong relationships. As Chris was talking about, you know, everybody focuses on the rock star entertainment properties, and those things do come and go pretty rapidly. There's a lot of big movies that come out every year, and so there might be a big movie this week, but by next week there are 2 others. So the consumer can't focus on it. This is all about share of mind. Building a brand that has staying power is a much more difficult, somewhat tedious process. But the payoff is in a lengthy term for you to get a return on your investment. So the evaluation that you go through as to what your business goals are and do they match those of your potential partner is a really important part of this. So with that, I'd like to thank everybody for their attention during the day. I'd like to thank all the panelists for lending their expertise. And I wish you all a lot of success going forward. And we'll see you next year as more fully as members of the licensing community. I fully expect so. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great evening.